Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Offsides and On One, a hockey podcast where we're loud, proud, and probably in the penalty box. I'm your host, Devin Moore, and we have a lot to talk about this week and last week, so let's just get right into it. Alright, so I was totally MIA last week. I was gonna put something on Instagram about it, and then I figured, well, whatever, like, it doesn't matter. So I just didn't post last week because I'm tired. I'm tired, and school's a lot, and I just needed a break. So that's why there was no episode last week. But I will be covering things that happened last week as well, or 2 weeks ago, whatever, I don't know. All of the days are blending together. But in the end, it worked out in an incredibly poetic way, because now this episode, which if you read the title you saw, beautifully worked out to be the 6-7 episode. So yeah, this is NHL week 6 and 7, therefore the 6-7 episode. Also, another disclaimer before we continue into the show. I'm doing laundry right now, so if you hear that, no, you didn't. Okay, now I'll really get into the show. Alright, so I'm going to dive right into week 6 here with the most obvious thing that happened that week. The Global Series. The series was split between the Penguins and the Preds, as each would go on to win one of the games. The Preds won Game 1, 2-1 in overtime, which was horrific if you're a Penguins fan. And then the Pens would go on to win Game 2 4-0. I'm going to go into, talk about the serious things that happened first, and then I've got a couple silly things that I want to talk about that stuck out to me. So, Evgeny Malkin still continues to prove he's that bitch, even overseas. He scored in both games from behind the goal line. They were beautiful goals and just incredible bounces for the Penguins in both of those games, even though they would ultimately lose in a devastating way in Game 1. The Pens had incredible puck luck the entire series, so whoever paid an Etsy witch to make sure the Penguins had good puck luck, I really appreciate you. And the Preds really had the opposite end of that. I mean, they were getting no good bounces. I mean, for the whole entire first part of Game 1, I mean, really up until we went into overtime, the puck luck for them just did not exist. I mean, they just could not get, horrible bounces, ridiculous things. I'm like, I didn't even know a puck could move that way. I was starting to feel bad because I was like, damn, they really just can't catch a break here. And they ultimately did end up catching a break in overtime, and then I no longer felt bad, but we got to see both ends of puck luck in professional hockey in Game 1 of the Global Series. Also in this series, in Game 2, we saw Sergei Murashov get his first NHL win and his first shutout. I mean, come on, y'all. I love this guy. I know I've talked about him in the last episode and the episode before that, and in a lot of episodes. I love this guy. I'm a big goalie fan. If you don't know that about me, I'm a huge goalie fan. I'm definitely a goalie girl, because the goalies are the most fun, in my opinion, to watch. I think they're great. If you don't know, Marc-Andre Fleury is my favorite player of all time, so I guess that speaks volumes as to why I think goalies are so great. But anyway, back to what I was talking about. Sergei made history in Sweden, and it was so much fun to see. I love this guy. I think he's great. And I'm really, 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 really excited to see what he continues to do for the Penguins. I have not, unfortunately, had a fun Penguins goalie since Flower. Not to say that Matt Murray wasn't fun, and not to say that Tristan Jarry isn't fun. I love Artie, but, Sergei just has that it factor for me, and I don't even know what that means, so don't ask me to define it, but I just love this guy. I think he's great, and I'm really excited. And it was really awesome to see him get that first win and first shutout. But moving on, I read a really cute piece from NHL.com about Matthew Wood, asking him about how he felt playing his childhood hero, Evgeny Malkin. And I read it and I was like, this is the cutest thing in the world. He's so me for real, because he almost didn't even want to meet him, because that's so... I mean, he wears 71 because of Gino. And that's huge. Like, he said that obviously he was just like blown away that he even had an opportunity to like play on the same ice as Sidney Crosby, but Evgeny Malkin was really like, that's his guy, you know? And the whole piece was so cute, and it was really nice because you don't really see that with a lot of players anymore. I feel like so many guys are I'm so tough, and they don't necessarily give their flowers to guy. Obviously, okay, I'm cutting myself off because I have something else to say. Obviously, like, people compliment guys like Sid. People like Macklin Celebrini and Connor Bedard. They're like, yeah, wow, Sidney Crosby loved him growing up, but not quite like this. This is the cutest part of this because nobody's doing it like this. He bought himself a Malkin jersey from the souvenir stand by the end of the trip, and that is so cute. That is so cute. I love it, and I thought the whole piece was really cute. I'll put a screenshot of it up here maybe if I remember. So if you want, you can go read it, but it was very well done and very sweet. So go check it out. Okay, anyway, now moving on. Enough yapping about the serious stuff. No more of that. I want to get into the silly things from the Global Series. Just a few things. Speaking of 6-7, seeing that this is the 6-7 episode, the Penguins did a Swedish pizza taste test video on Pittsburgh Sportsnet. Never in my life did I think I was going to hear Evgeny Malkin say 6-7, but I did. Really, it was not on my bingo card. Not only was that not on my bingo card, but the Penguins doing a Swedish pizza taste test. If you walked up to somebody who knows nothing about hockey and was like, oh, you know the Pittsburgh Penguins, Pittsburgh Sportsnet, Evgeny Malkin, Erik Karlsson, Kevin Hayes, and Rickard Rakell Swedish pizza taste test 6-7 Evgeny Malkin. Oh my god, like, you could kill somebody with that. You could kill a Victorian child with that sentence. Thank you. But yeah, honestly, I'm not even remembering the context, but I think somebody said, I think Hazy, no, maybe it wasn't Hazy. I don't remember. One of them was like, oh, I think I'd rate this one like a 6 or a 7. And it wasn't on purpose. Like, they were genuinely, I think it might have been EK, now that I'm saying that. Go ahead and fact check me, because I'm not gonna. And Gina goes, 6-7? But yeah, it was hilarious. I guess he has a son that's a prime age, like Nikita's prime 6-7 age. So that shouldn't shock me, but I just didn't, my brain could not fathom Evgeny Malkin saying 6-7. That's like Sidney Crosby saying 6-7, which, if that ever happens, we're just gonna have to wrap it up. Another thing that happened at the Global Series that was just silly but also just confusing. So when they were doing the player intros in Game 1, they announced number 17 on defense, Brian Rust, and he looks over to Tanger like, defense? Me? It was hilarious the way that they did that, and his reaction just was chef's kiss. It's just confused, and he was like giggling to himself on the ice. And that wasn't the only time that happened where they said the wrong number. Sergei Murashov in Game 2, one player of the game, got a sick watch, even though he doesn't wear watches, is what he said in the post-game interview. When they announced player of the game, they said, player of the game number 37, and everybody kind of looks around and they're like, Artie's on the bench. Artie didn't play. But I think Sergei was like, oh, so they mean me. Another thing that I noticed that they played multiple times during both of the games was Country Roads, like, techno Euro remix. Is that something that is played in Europe at like soccer games or hockey games or whatever? Because I don't know, it took me a second to realize that it was Country Roads, and I was just thinking, are they playing Country Roads? Because as someone from West Virginia, that's awesome. Country Roads is a hype song, and it was a hype remix, and I was just thinking, do they do this all the time? I didn't know we were rocking to Country Roads overseas, and if so, that's pretty sick. So yeah, just let me know if that's something that happens all the time in European hockey or soccer, football, for any Europeans, football. But yeah, I did not know, and I was pleasantly surprised by the playing of Country Roads at the Global Series. Now, the final funny thing I wanted to bring up was this wonderful tweet that I saw on Twitter during the Global Series. And it's a picture of the Pens at practice, over by the bench, Sid, Gino, Rusty, Tanger, EK, and then right plop in the middle is Ben Kindle. And it says, like, what is this kid doing in Peepaw Town? And just the phrase Peepaw Town was enough to make tears appear in my eyes. I was just... Peepaw Town is a phrase that I'm going to be using all the time. Anytime I go to a Penguins game, I'm saying I'm going to Peepaw Town. Speaking of going to Penguins games, I'm going to one very soon. The phrase Peepaw Town is now part of my vocabulary, so thank you to whoever wrote this tweet. I really appreciate you. So that wraps it up for the Global Series, but I want to go ahead and talk a little bit more about a few things that happened during Week 6. And one of the biggest things that happened on the 16th was the bench clearing brawl between the Red Wings and the Rangers. This whole thing I saw all over social media, mostly for the beautiful cinematic pictures that came out of it. Basically, the incident was triggered when Red Wings forward Mason Appleton shot the puck into the Rangers' empty net 5 seconds after the buzzer went off and the time expired. And the Rangers were not happy. I mean, obviously that's one of the things that's sort of an unwritten rule in hockey. You just don't do that. But Appleton did it anyway. Like I said, the Rangers were not happy, especially Jonathan Quick, who decided to leave the bench to confront Appleton, which then led to both benches clearing in a big chaotic scrum. I mean, if you've seen these pictures, I'll probably put one up here. It looks like a beautiful Michelangelo painting or something. Like, it looks like it's just gorgeous. And really what made it so great was the fact that both teams were wearing home jerseys, pretty much. The NHL is trying out this new thing where they have more games with both teams wearing color jerseys because it's just fun. I haven't said it on this show, but I've said it for a while that white jerseys I'm sick of, because it's like, we're playing on ice that's white. Why are we wearing plain white jerseys? It's boring. Like, they're boring. I'm tired. They're boring. But the NHL is starting this new thing where having both teams wearing their home jerseys is very nice, and I really enjoy it. And they did it for the Centennial reasons. Obviously, both teams were wearing their Centennial jerseys, but more games like this need to happen because the pictures from this game are chef's kiss. These pictures are going to be going up on people's office walls all across North America. Every Red Wings and Rangers fan is going to have this printed out and framed in a nice little frame up above their desk in their office. They're beautiful. Hockey has so many great picture opportunities, and this was just mwah. It was great. And NHL, let's continue to do more color on color jerseys. I am now realizing, looking back at my notes, just how ridiculous Week 6 was with just news in general, because I'm not gonna lie, I kind of forgot about this, but we also learned last week that Jack Hughes would be out indefinitely after cutting his hand on a piece of glass at team dinner. What Mickey Mouse sort of cartoon universe do we live in where this is even possible? I know that there were some details put out that he possibly leaned on a glass and that's what happened, but I haven't seen anything really that's like confirmed, so I don't know what really happened. But people were saying that he leaned on a glass and it broke, that he fell on a glass and it broke, that like he was standing up on a table and like had his palm on a plate, and that's what, I don't know. Jack, tune in. Jack, tune in and give us an exclusive on what happened at team dinner. But whatever. The moral of the story is he's going to be out indefinitely because he injured several muscles and shit, obviously, when he leaned on the glass and cut the crap out of his hand. But he did have surgery. Obviously, it was fine, and he's good now, and he's just all wrapped up and bandaged. But the reason that Devils fans think not only this happened, but also the several other injuries that their team has been experiencing this year is due to the mummies that were found underneath Prudential Center when they were building it. Now, you may be asking, mummies? What? Yes. Yes, folks. There were mummies found under the Prudential Center in 2005 when they were building it. I think what it was is that it used to be like a church or something. It was like I think I said like Protestant or something. But there were two mummies buried underneath that church. And then when the church went bye-byes, there was a parking lot. And then when the parking lot was like, okay, no more, let's put a hockey rink right here, they were digging it up. Oh, wow, mummies. And they said, okay, we're going to send these to D.C. And they're still in D.C. You can go check them out there at the Smithsonian, actually. But, yeah, Devils fans think that they cursed Prudential Center and therefore Jack Hughes. So, yeah. I guess I'm going to talk about this more later. You know what? No, I'm just going to talk about it now. Jack Hughes must not be that cursed because he was out on a date with Tate McRae the other day. Allegedly, Tate McRae. People still are back and forth on that. I don't know. Like, the picture kind of looks like her, but also not really. I don't know. But who knows? Jack Hughes was probably on a date with Tate McRae the other day, so he can't be that cursed, folks. He cannot be that cursed. Alright, that's going to do it for week 6. Sorry for the lackluster coverage. I'm tired, and honestly, I don't even really remember what happened that much on week 6. This was kind of just the stuff I was writing down. But I think I hit the big dogs, So, yeah, that's week 6. Let's go ahead and get right into week 7. Okay, first up, I want to talk about that new ESPN commercial. If you know me personally, you know that I say I collaborate just fine from home more than twice a day. It's just a part of my vernacular, my vocabulary at this point. And that's from the work from home ESPN commercial. But now they have this new one that is day in the life as an NHL player, which is, it's perfect. Connor Bedard is not having a sweet treat at the end of the day, I can tell you that much. But anyway, every time it comes on, it makes me giggle. I think it's great. And whoever is in charge of the ESPN commercials right now, you're doing a great job because they're starting to get back to the old days of the really good hockey on ESPN commercials. I don't think anything will ever top the Henrik Lundqvist Swedish Chef commercial because that is my all-time favorite commercial ever, period. Even extending beyond sports, that is the greatest commercial that's ever existed. We're getting back to that level with this day in the life commercial. And yeah, I just can't get over the sweet treat at the end like that. It's so funny. He's like, and I finished my day with a sweet treat. And he's like eating, I don't know, like ice cream with sprinkles on it. It's great. And now I want to talk about something that is fundamental to who I am as a person now. Last week, Lululemon dropped their collab with Team Canada, and the face of this collab was Sidney Crosby. Now listen to me when I tell you this. My roommate, Hazel, if you're listening, she knows. This whole entire campaign became my personality for about 48 hours. I still think about it every day. Genuinely, more than once a day, I'm like, wow, Sidney Crosby, Lululemon, Team Canada collab. Whoever is on the Lululemon marketing team that said we need Sidney Crosby as the face of this campaign right now deserves a raise. Honestly, deserves to be CEO of the company. I mean, let's be real here, people. He looked so good, folks. Oh my God, he looked so good. Like, that's my captain. That is my guy. Oh my God. Literally, I'm not even kidding. I went to the Lululemon site for the first time ever. Like, I don't own Lululemon. That shit's too expensive. There's not even a Lululemon store around me. The closest one is 45 minutes away. But I went to the damn Lulu website and looked and genuinely considered, well, like I have $500 to drop on a coat, but I was like, if I had $500 to drop on this Lululemon bright red Team Canada puffer jacket that Sidney Crosby wore, I would. Good thing I don't. But I would have. Just because Sid had it on, I would have bought it. That's how you get me to buy anything. Put it on Sidney Crosby, and I'm buying it. So that's basically how you get me. That's how you get me, folks. But I did ask for the scarf for Christmas. The Canada scarf, the red one. I'll put a picture of it. I'll put a beautiful picture of Sid wearing it up here. But yeah, this campaign, thank God that they did not pick anybody else to be the face of it. Because a classic pick would be like Cale Makar or Nathan McKinnon. Those would have been great, but they would not have been as good as Sid. So thank you, Lulu, for making Sidney Crosby the face of your Team Canada campaign. I really appreciate you for that. So in the same vein of fashion, we had a couple jersey reveals this week as well. The Rangers and the Panthers revealed their Winter Classic jerseys, which honestly I think are great. The Panthers jerseys are my favorite of the two. The Rangers ones are a little plain. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of white jerseys, but these ones are like, if you're going to do a white jersey, this is how you do it. It's very nice, very clean. I love it. But the Panthers jersey is just, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. By no means a differing opinion. I think everybody loves this jersey. The one thing that I wish they would have done that I saw on Twitter was they were originally going to have like panther claws on their gloves. I'll see if I can find the picture and put it up here. But that was originally the idea for the gloves. And then they just didn't end up going with it for some reason. But oh my God, that is so cool. Like, why? Why? I'm not a Panthers fan, but I would have been like, shit, I want those gloves. I'm going to have to go out and buy those gloves. But yeah, I wish they would have went with that because they were so cool. That was so cool. Also, this week, the Hawks revealed their new third jersey, which is just gorgeous. It is beautiful. This black jersey, and I'm loving what they're doing this year with the outlining on the numbers. It looks so good. It's so clean. It's incredible. And if you're a Blackhawks fan, you need to buy this jersey right now. Because if I see you Blackhawks fans out there not wearing this jersey, you're taking your shit for granted. Because this is incredible. And I have a thing with like buying other teams' jerseys unless it's a player that I really, really love. The only other jersey that I have that's not a Penguins jersey, I actually have two. I have a Vegas Golden Knights Marc-Andre Fleury jersey that's signed and on my wall. And then I have a Henrik Lundqvist jersey. Like I said, goalie girl. But those are the only ones. And the Flower one doesn't really count because he was always a Penguin to me. So really the only one I have is the Lundqvist jersey. But this is a jersey that I would go against my weird superstitious rule of not wearing other teams' jerseys. I would get one of these if I was not poor. Being in college is expensive. But these are just gorgeous. Like, I don't have enough to say about them. They are beautiful chef's kiss, and I really love what they're doing in Chicago right now with all of their jerseys. Now, speaking of the Blackhawks and Connor Bedard, on November 18th, Bedard scored his second career hat trick and exchanged hat tricks with Macklin Celebrini. Celebrini scored 2 goals in 2 minutes against the Mammoth, and he had a thrilling overtime winner that game as well. The final score of the Sharks game was 3-2. So, yeah, you heard that right. Macklin Celebrini was the only Shark to score that whole game. I mean, just hats off to him. That was incredible. And the Hawks went on to beat the Flames 5-2 in that game where Bedard had his hat trick, and he was just on fire that game. I mean, truly, both of those guys were unbelievable. They're unbelievable every night, but those games specifically, it was like just, wow. It was really awesome. I was watching the Sharks game. It was great. I missed the Blackhawks game, but they were both really great. I went back and watched the highlights for the Hawks game, and those Bedard goals were just disgusting. That his release is just, it's unbelievable. I talk about Connor Bedard and Macklin Celebrini on this podcast every week. Every week. But they deserve it. Like, look at them. Literally turn on a hockey game and you'll hear even if it's not a Hawks game or a Sharks game, they're still talking about Bedard and Celebrini. So I don't want to hear it. But yeah, Mac carried the Sharks heavy that night. I mean, heavy. That was a really sick night for hockey. Now, moving outside the NHL, last week we saw the PWHL's opening night on November 21st, and I stayed up to watch the first matchup between the Golden Eyes and the Torrent, which was awesome, by the way. It was awesome. The Golden Eyes are the first team in the PWHL to have their own arena, which is really sick. They don't have to share it. The whole game was so much fun, and watching the first game of like a budding rivalry is so cool. Like, I can't think of the last time I've ever seen that, honestly. I guess when the PWHL first started in like Toronto and Montreal, but even then this one had a different feel, and I'm really excited to see where these teams go. In that game, Julia Gosling opened scoring in the inaugural meeting between the Torrent and the Golden Eyes and made history, as it was the very first goal in Torrent history. And then just a few minutes later, in response to that goal from Gosling, Sarah Nurse tied the game and scores the Golden Eyes' very first goal on an incredible 3-1 opportunity. It was perfect. And of course, who other than Sarah Nurse for the Golden Eyes to score that goal? She's one of my favorite hockey players to watch. She is so much fun to watch. She is so good at everything she does. I mean, really, every time she touches the puck and just touches the ice, period, magic happens. And I love her. I don't have enough good things to say about her. And she is that girl. She is her without question. But the barn came unglued when she scored that goal. I'm just so happy for her and happy for the Golden Eyes, happy for Vancouver and Seattle to get women's hockey. I'm patiently waiting my turn here over in Pittsburgh for us to get a PWHL team. And when that happens, and I'm saying when because it will happen one day, folks, it's gonna happen. I'm manifesting it. I thought we were going to get a team in this last expansion with the Torrent and the Golden Eyes, but, you know, they were sort of doing a West Coast thing, so whatever. But next time, we are getting a PWHL team in Pittsburgh, and I'm going to be at every game. I'm buying season tickets. So look out for that, folks. But yeah, I'm so excited to watch the rivalry between these two teams as they continue to go on and as the rivalry evolves. And yeah, it was awesome. If you're not watching the PWHL, what are you doing? All of the games are streamed on YouTube, so literally you have no excuse. Go watch the PWHL. It's some of the most entertaining hockey you can find, and if you're not watching it, you're a bomb. So yeah, get on it. Now, I want to talk about the Wingman pod for a sec, because our Wingmen pod, the Kachuk brothers pulled a Kelsey brothers move and decided to hop on the Sport Brothers making a podcast train. We've seen a lot of this happening throughout sports with, you know, obviously the Kelseys were the blueprint with the New Heights. The DeJean bros have started a podcast. There's a whole bunch all across sports. And finally, somebody from the NHL stepped up and decided to make a player podcast. And it was the Kachuk bros. I don't always like these guys. Sometimes I think they're scumbags. I think they're scumbags except for when they're on Team USA. Then I'm a big fan. But being a hypocrite at its finest. The show was great. I listened to both episodes. I really enjoy player podcasts. I think that's really fun. I don't listen to the Kelsey Bros podcast, but I do listen to the DeJean Brothers podcast, and I love it. I think it's great. I think that's really cool to have that special insight into the game from a player's perspective that's a current player. I think that's really cool, and I'm really enjoying this pod, and I'm excited every week. I think a new episode comes out tomorrow. I'm recording this on Tuesday. So I think a new episode of their pod comes out on Wednesday. Yeah, I think it's Wednesday. But yeah, I really liked the first 2 episodes. Saw some people on Twitter being like, oh, this is dumb. It's not dumb, it's a podcast. Put that on a t-shirt. It's not dumb, it's a podcast. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. I liked their perspective on things. I really liked the second episode where they went into Four Nations and talking about the Four Nations face-off and how that was for them, because we got a glimpse of it in oh my god, the show on Amazon. Oh my god. Why am I not thinking of it? Hold on. Face Off. That's what it is. Oh my god. I can't believe I did. That was crazy. Like, you saw me live memory loss just then. But yeah, we got to see a little bit of a glimpse into what Four Nations was like with the Kachuk Bros on Face Off. But it was cool to hear from them, like, out of the chaos of that show, because there was a lot going on, especially that episode. I'm excited to tune in. Go check out the Wingman Pod on, I think it's everywhere, YouTube. I listen to it on Apple Podcasts, but yeah, I think they're everywhere. And it's really fun. It's an enjoyable podcast, and if you want to learn some more about hockey and see some new hockey perspectives, it's a really fun thing. Alright everyone, I know I didn't have a lot of super in-depth game coverage this week, but we're going to go into our regular scheduled programming of the standings. So I'm going to start off with the Atlantic, where the Tampa Bay Lightning lead with 28 points. Then in the Metro, we have the Hurricanes with 30 points. Then we go down to the Central with the Colorado Avalanche leading with 37 points. They're not real, they're a cheat code. Then lastly, we have the Pacific, where the Anaheim Ducks lead with 29 points. That's not shocking. The Ducks have been playing ridiculously. If you haven't been keeping up with the Pacific at all, the Ducks are not real, and they're back. And the Avs lead the league with their ridiculous 37 points. That's ridiculous. I need to, like, fact check that. Is that real? I'm Googling it right now. Is this an AI? Nope, it's not an AI. They lead the Dallas Stars by 7 points. That's crazy. All right, now the long-awaited, who knows if it's long-awaited, the winners of the week. We've got 4 winners this week. So let's get right into them. Our first winner this week, and I'm realizing I'm talking about the Blackhawks a lot this episode for some reason, so this is a very Penguins and Blackhawks heavy pod, and I don't know why. But the first winner this week is going to be Andrei Burakovsky for interrupting that Connor Bedard interview. It was like the very beginning. I forget what the exact question was, but it was like, how are you feeling about blah, blah, blah. And Andrei provided Connor Bedard's inner thoughts by saying, quote, "I'm Connor Bedard. I'm the hottest player in the league. I'm nasty." The whole thing was really cute, really funny. It's just, I love a good interruption in a post-game or post-practice interview. I think it's great. And that's why that's going to be our number one winner this week. So our second winner of the week is also Blackhawks centered. I saw this on Twitter, and our next winner is Tommy Hawk, but not just Tommy Hawk. Tommy Hawk dressed up as Glinda from Wicked, and he even finished it off with being in a bubble. I thought this was incredible. Obviously, last week was the Wicked premiere, the long-awaited Wicked for Good premiere, and the Blackhawks celebrated by dressing up Tommy Hawk as Glinda and putting him in a bubble, which was incredible. I think he was also singing Popular, which was even better. So I really appreciate that. Also, during the Red Wings game the other day, I was watching a Wings game, and they were playing Wicked music, and I was like, why don't they play Wicked music at Penguins games? Anyway, that's beyond the point. Second winner is Tommy Hawk because of that sick costume dressed up as Glinda. Our third winner goes to not just a call, but also an incredible play-by-play host who is one of my favorite of all time because he just says the most crazy things, and I love a good crazy play-by-play call. Obviously, you know, I'm a Penguins fan, if I don't make that clear enough. You know, growing up, hearing iconic calls by Mike Lang, you sort of have that ingrained in your memory and just love good, crazy calls. And last week we saw a great call from Mark Moser, who is the play-by-play host for the Colorado Avalanche. And he had an incredible call on Cale Makar's goal against the Blackhawks. Oh my god, the Blackhawks again. Here we go. But anyway, Cale Makar scored the only goal in this game as the final score was 1-0. But Mark Moser said, for the call of this goal, "Well, paint my reindeer green and call me a goblin." Mark, what does that mean? I love it. And, you know, don't stop with the crazy goal calls that don't make any sense, but what does that mean? Now, lastly, I mentioned this earlier, the biggest and most ultimate winner for this week in the past 2 weeks, and honestly forever, the biggest winner forever, because it changed my brain and how my brain functions. The biggest winner is whoever got Sidney Crosby to face that campaign. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I think everybody in Pittsburgh and also everybody across Canada is thanking you for this. So whoever that was, I love you. I love you. And thank you for everything. Thank you for everything. Yeah, that's going to be, whoever it is, reveal yourself. So we can all thank you as one big unity and give you the flowers you deserve, because that is just such an incredible move. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. All right, that very emotionally detailed thank you wraps up the winners of the week. So let's go ahead and get into the losers. Okay, so the first loser of this week is going to be the refs for being not only so mean to my Penguins, but also Connor Bedard. Now, obviously, the whole thing with him yelling at the ref or whatever. Like, wow, oh my God. You people have never seen somebody yell at a ref before. Like, shut up. You're annoying. Anyway, the refs have just been, like, on his tail recently for sometimes a good reason, but also not really. But I just have a feeling that the refs, listen to me when I say this, put your tinfoil hats on. The refs, they're cheaters. Now, never have I once appreciated a ref once in my life. Actually, no, that's a lie. There's a couple of times where I've appreciated refs when, like, you know, you get a good call for your team. But most of the time, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of seeing high sticks not called that are the most blatant high sticks ever in the universe ever. Like, there's teeth on the ice and there's not a call. But yeah, this goes out to all my refs out there. Please do your job. You get paid lots of money to be a ref in the National Hockey League. So simply, when somebody's teeth are on the ice or there's blood on the ice and you don't call a high stick, frankly, you should be put in prison. Frankly, you should go to jail. But yeah, anyway. Biggest loser this week, the refs. Now, our last loser is going to Will Smith. Not for anything that he did on the ice, but for the sole reason that he didn't bag Tate McRae before Jack Hughes did. Allegedly. But yeah, if you don't know what I'm talking about, there was one of those videos on TikTok that the Sharks did one time where they were like, Tate McRae or Sidney Sweeney, and I think there was one other option, and I don't remember. And Will Smith was like, Tate McRae. Like, he was like, what do you mean? There's other options. Like, no, Tate McRae is the only one. And yeah, so Will, you get a big fat L this week for, I guess not fumbling. In a way, fumbling Tate McRae. You should have gotten on that sooner, buddy. Okay, so also, remember how I said 2 weeks ago when I was going to rank the top 10 mustaches of Movember? I lied. I'm not doing that this week either. I might do it next week when it's like the end of November, so that we got to see everybody's full potential mustaches, you know. Who knows, I might do it next time, I might not. The world may never know. Now, lastly, folks, we have reached the final segment of the show, Bag of Hockey Cards. If this is your first time here, Bag of Hockey Cards is basically a little segment where I have a literal bag of hockey cards. It's a tote bag from the Pittsburgh Steelers Pro Shop, and it's full of hockey cards ranging from the 1990s till now. And I shake it up, give it a mix, pick a card, and I read the card to you, tell you who it is. Sometimes, maybe I'll take it as an omen, only if it's a good omen. We don't do bad omens in this house. But basically by that, I mean if it's a player that I like, it's a good omen for the week. So I'm going to go ahead, give the bag a mix, and pull a card. Alright, folks, the bag has been mixed. I'm going to go ahead and grab one. Oh my god. What a pull, folks. It's Chris Kunitz. Yes! Yes! As if I don't talk about the Penguins enough on this show. We pulled Chris Kunitz from the bag of hockey cards. I was like, why does this have plastic on it? That's why. What a great pull. Oh, this card's from the 2009-2010 season. Vintage. Yeah, this is a great card. This is back in the bleached Penguin era. Obviously, it's 2010. But what a great year for Pittsburgh hockey. He came in halfway through the season in 09. Or was it 08? I don't remember. One of those. I think it was 08. He had 88 career goals at this point. Oh, what a legend. I love this guy. And when Chris Kunitz gets put in the Pittsburgh Penguins Hall of Fame, will I be there? Yeah. I don't play. When it comes to him, I don't play. You guys know that TikTok? That's how I feel about Chris Kunitz. But yeah, that's a great pull for this week, and I think that's a great omen. Going into Thanksgiving. Oh yeah, by the way, happy Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is Thursday. I'm putting this out on Tuesday, so happy Thanksgiving, happy Turkey Day. If you're American, if you're not American, happy dinner. That's gonna pretty much do it for me this week. I really appreciate you all putting up with me for not posting last week. I was tired. But yeah, I'm here and I'm back. And we just pulled a Chris Kunitz card, so all is well in the universe. But yeah, that's all I have for you. Make sure to go and follow us on socials, on Instagram, TikTok, and follow me on TikTok because I never post on the Offsides and On One TikTok, and I need to get better about that. But I post on my personal TikTok all the time. And those are all linked in the description. So go ahead and check those out. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got. There's a lot of hockey on this week. Go ahead and check it out. And I'll be talking about it next week. So yeah, thank you all so much. And I'll see you next week. Goodbye.